What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first edition of the WCW Nitro Podcast. I'm your host. I'm Notorious when I am Dom. I'm here with my man BDC, all the way from Delaware. BDC, what's going on, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. What's good? What's good?
Not much, man. You know, there's a lot of wrestling out there, and, you know, we mentioned it a few times, and I think it's time to give the people what they want. They want to hear some WCW. Figure we start from episode 1 and see how far we can go with this show. And WCW has a lot of good, bad, and ugly, and
we're going to be emphasizing a lot of that as we go.
Yes.
Yep, indeed.
So for me, you know, everybody loves WWE because WWE is the mecca of professional wrestling. But at first, it was WCW. The reason why I say it was WCW because you had WCW Saturday Night, and then when Nitro hit, you had them for the the very first hour. Cause Raw was what 9 to 11, 9 to 10, and 9 to 11. Yeah.
Yep.
So you go watch Nitro, go to Raw, and then go back to Nitro. So
yep.
A lot of fandom, and with Hulk Hogan being there and seeing Sting, the Colorful Pain, Macho Man Randy Savage. As a kid in 1995, I didn't care about no heels. I didn't care about Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, nothing like that. Didn't know. It's all about the good guys.
Right. So. Exactly right. And back in the early stages of Nitro, it was really kind of a case of WCW kind of staying in its lane. I mean, it was always kind of the number 2 to WWE once it really kind of gained steam after I would say WrestleMania 3 when Hogan and Andre fought. That was kind of like when it started to really take over. I mean, even though WCW had TBS, it had exposure. WWE had mainstream exposure. It was on network to TV. Whereas WCW was on TBS. It was on cable from the jump. So you had to kind of go find it. Whereas with WWE, it was right there. It was right there whenever you wanted it. So, the early stages of Nitro, it was kind of a stay in your lane, and then once it really gets into a couple of years down the road, when it really decides it wants to compete with WWE, that's when the Monday Night Wars, all that stuff happens. But we're not talking about that yet.
Not yet.
We're not there yet.
We got a few more years for that.
There's a lot of time between them, so we're gonna pump the brakes a little bit. But we're gonna talk about this first episode, which occurred in September 4th in 1995. A very small place called the Mall of America. And just kind of like a bingo hall. This Mall of America place. Actually, yeah, Mall of America, the hugest mall and I don't know if it was the hugest mall in America, or one of the hugest malls in the world at the time. But it was unheard of that a wrestling event be held in a mall, and I don't know offhand how many times it has happened since this that a wrestling event has happened in a mall. Might have to look that up at a later date.
GCW just recently had a show in Jersey in the mall.
At American Dream. American Dream. Yeah. Yep. Exactly right. American Dream, which vied to be the Mall of America of New Jersey after 30 years. God, it's been 30 years.
Wow, yeah, we taking it back.
Yeah, 30 years. Jesus. But yeah, so you go ahead and get into this bit of fun, which is Monday Night, the very first episode of Monday Night Nitro, or Monday Nitro, whichever way you want to sling it at the time. And I think it was really interesting that the commentators, because I completely forgot, was Eric Bischoff and Mongo McMichael. And then they were joined by Bobby Heenan. And I completely forgot, because we all talk about how Mongo is not the best wrestler out there. that he actually did start as commentary. I completely forgot about that. Him and his little dog. I don't remember the name, but yeah, I completely forgot about that. Um, Eric Bischoff at the time was running the role of just a commentator. Um,
Eric Bischoff was your Vince McMahon at the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
You didn't know who he was. You didn't know
yeah,
he
right,
was like manager or
right.
owner or anything like that.
You just knew that he was there doing commentary. That's
Yes.
all you knew. And he was again followed up with Steve McMichael, who had just made the jump to WCW, and Bobby the Brain Heenan, who basically we all know around here as legend,
Yep.
just legend.
All right, so Nitro kicks off in the Mall in America where Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Steve Mongo McMichael. If you guys don't know who Steve Mongo McMichael is, he was on the 1985 Chicago Bears. And Bobby Heenan kicked it off with a punchline. Oh, man, I used to be a big fan of you. We used to play for Denver when you were a Bronco. So, oh, man.
Yeah,
Them
yeah.
two were jabbing all night. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he kept it light from the gate. Whatever, Bobby was just gonna make sure he was gonna crack his jokes, and I think that helps a guy who's just coming in and not really familiar with what he has to do for a guy to come in and just kind of crack jokes on you all night. It was literally just the beginning.
Yes.
Literally just the beginning.
All right, well, our opening match, WCW is known for their cruiserweight, so they kicked off the match with Jushin Thunder Liger taking on Flying Brian Pillman, and this is how you could get, people's attention, especially in the mall.
Yep.
You're seeing these cruiserweights, these lightweight guys flying all over the place. It was a good concept, and that's a good way to kick off the show. It was a very fast-paced match, and the fans, they were really impressed. I know I was impressed when Liger had Pillman in the surfboard, because you don't see that nowadays.
Yeah, you really don't.
I missed that move.
Yeah, there was a couple of moves that I thought that that Jushin Thunder Liger was going to die in the match. A couple of moves that didn't go quite according to plan, but one move Brian Pillman was able to kind of save him. He did the backflip off the top rope where he literally would have landed on his head if Pillman hadn't caught him somewhere along the way. And then there was the Hurricane Rana that Pillman was trying to flip him completely over, and somehow, some way, he ended up on the back of Pillman's legs, and I don't know how that happened. I just don't have a clue. But outside of that, it was a really good match. And one of the things I noticed was that Mongo McMichael was not doing play-by-play. Mongo McMichael was not doing color commentary. Mongo McMichael was essentially the WCW hype machine. Like, the entire match, all he was doing was running out WCW quotes. Like, where the big boys play, but that comes later. They said something like, we're the best wrestle, we're the best live. And I'm like, I never heard that before. He was literally the hype machine for WCW for the entire match, which actually worked out really well. Because you already had a color, you already had a play-by-play. So, yeah, you have them just be there talking as, quote-unquote, the fan, who just talking about how great WCW is. And, I mean, it was a good match to do it on. I mean, there's plenty of matches that could have gone way worse that he could have been doing it on, and we would have been looking at him like, you're right, buddy. But this was a really good match for him to really just kind of hype up what WCW was all about in that match.
Do you think the way Mongo's debut was as an announcer, more as that fan role, does he remind you of Ron Bartlett of the first episode of Monday Nitro?
Ron Bartlett. I don't even remember that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Ron Bartlett. It was Vince, it was Savage, it was Ron Bartlett. And Heenan was trying to make it in the building. Google that one. He didn't last long.
He is one of many failed WWE commentators that just, because like I said, And I saw the first episode of Monday Night Raw, and I don't remember that guy from a hole in the wall. I don't know who he is.
Well, if you want to know who he is, the It Doesn't Matter podcast is covering the first episode of Monday Night Raw coming soon. So you definitely have to be on that one. It's only 4 matches.
Yeah, so. I definitely will. I will commit. I will commit to being on that first episode of Monday Night Raw too, because it is. It's going to be really interesting to reminisce over that one, because I mean that one's even further back. So
that's 93, January 93.
So we're already over 30 years on that one. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting to chime into.
Yes. All right, so the result of the first match, Flying Brian, he got the win with a reversal.
Yep.
Good opening match. The people are hyped up. They're into it. And then after this, we get an interview with Hulk Hogan, and he's with Eric Bischoff, and he's talking about Pasta Mania.
Oh, well, you forgot something, because you forgot the Sting promo, which actually, if anyone has ever played WCW Thunder, pretty much the Sting promo in this thing is essentially what all of WCW's Thunders into splashes are about, because you'd have a bunch of wrestlers, and when you clicked on one of them, it'd give you like this quick 15-second promo, and that was essentially what Sting did. And I looked at it, and that was the first thing I thought about was, well, I see where Thunder got it from. So, but yeah, he just basically talked about how, he put on the Scorpion Deathlock better than anybody. His match with Ric Flair and yada yada yada. As I said, really quick, nothing major or drawn out or anything like that. It was just in and out. And then, like you said, into the segment with Bischoff and Hulk Hogan with Jimmy Hart at Pasta Mania, brother.
Pasta Mania.
Which never knew he actually had a pasta spot in the Mall of America. Never knew that.
Strat Facts can tell you that one. He was in Mall of America, so this is where Hulk Hogan was standing. So you already know he looked that up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, he's talking about Pasta Mania, and this is gonna be the first time the WCW title get defended on a Nitro, and he's gonna be taking on Big Bubba. You want to tell the people who Big Bubba is?
Big Bubba, better known as the Big Boss Man of WWF, WWE. He's had a couple of names in WCW. He was Big Bubba Rogers. Before all of that, he was the Guardian Angel. When he had problems with his name being, what was it, Boss? His name was Big Boss, no Big Boss Man, and WWF was like, nah, bro. So he became the Guardian Angel for a while. But at this point, he is affiliated with the Dungeon of Doom in some way, shape, or form, and is Big Bubba Rogers.
Yep. This man, he couldn't get away from that crime-fighting gimmick,
No, I mean, when your past life is that of a police officer or a jailhouse officer, it's kind of easy to roll with. It's a gimmick. And it's based on real life.
We talked about Nails before, but he made a debut in WCW as well. Not in this show, but what was his name? Do you remember? In WCW?
Nails?
Yeah.
No.
Was he like the convict or something like that?
Wait, yeah, hold on.
I think he was like the convict or something that nature like that.
Yeah, because that would be right on brand with WCW. They did not travel far with the names, man. So, what exactly just happened? Yeah, so I think I just lost you.
I'm still here.
Yeah, that's weird. It just,
Hold on. I'll pull it up right quick. Let's see.
Well, I'm pulling it up too, but the thing is I lost it. Can you see me still? Because I lost all of that.
Yeah, I still see you.
Interesting. Because I can't even see me. That's outstanding.
You're still there, pal.
All right. Well, as long as I'm still there, that's all that really matters.
Yes.
All right.
So
yeah, so Nails, good old Nails. He was actually right, called the Convict
and the prisoner.
and the Prisoner. Outstanding. So he was the Convict and the Prisoner, because I guess in his past life he was a jailbird. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. But yeah. That was the subject of that segment was he was going to be facing Big Bubba Rogers, aka Big Boss Man, and he was going to beat the pasta out of him and yada 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 and all that fun stuff along the way.
All right, well, our next match of the night is for the United States Championship. We have the Nature Boy Ric Flair taking on Sting. And my God, Ric Flair had this beautiful color, bronze color robe on. Woo! Woo.
Ric Flair, if there is nothing else you like about the man, which I find very hard to believe that there would not be a lot to like about Ric Flair, regardless of whether he was a heel or a face. But if there was nothing else to like about that man, the robes he came out with, oh my God. Those robes were just elegance to the extreme. Like, literally, they were a throwback to a bygone era of wrestlers coming down to the ring with elegant robes on and, just looking the part. And that robe was no exception. No exception at all.
I don't think he wore that robe on a regular. You never seen it
No.
like that. You've seen like the purple one, the black and white one, the red.
I would not be surprised if he wore that only for that first Nitro episode and very few matches after that. Maybe main events or special occasion matches. But you did not see that particular robe all that often, and that robe was beautiful.
I wish I could find that joint.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And my man Sting, he had the purple and gold on.
Yep.
I tell you what, the 90s, they sure were flashy. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of color, a lot of tassels.
Yeah. Absolutely. They were not shy about putting all sorts of colors together, just throwing stuff together to see what sticks. And, I mean, it really played to the allure with kids because, I mean, kids want merch, and bright, colorful merch is going to stand out with kids, or as one Brahma Bull famously called another superstar, Fruity Pebbles. But it's true. The brighter the colors, it's going to appeal to kids, especially if that wrestler's popular. And Sting was as popular as they come at that time.
Yes. All right, well, this is for the United States Championship, and Sting, he's the champion at the time. Yep. And, well, coming down to the ring, Lex Luger makes his appearance. And Eric Bischoff saying, what is he doing here? And Bobby said, this is a public mall. He could be here, right?
Yeah, which is accurate, except he walked down the walkway, which is not part of the mall. Which is not part of the mall in that moment. That is part of the WCW, dynamic. That is part of the WCW structure. So no, he does not have the right to walk down that ramp. But Lex Luger had officially made his return to Monday Nitro at that point after his run at WWE. Where he failed to win any big titles, and his biggest claim to fame was he body slammed Yokozuna.
Well, the thing with that is he was about to be the next guy. They wanted him to be Hogan, but for some reason they never pulled the trigger. He beat Yoko by disqualification, and
there is actually video footage, and I saw this a couple of weeks ago. There's actual video footage that they literally
handed him the belt
and let him go down to the ring and pose as WWF champion before his match with Yokozuna, and it did not get a pop. Yeah. It did not get a pop at all. So they're like, "Yep, nope, we're not putting a belt on him." Yeah, and I mean, I guess that was a thing back in the days. That was how they gauged to see how people would respond to somebody being a champion is they would actually have them give them the belt and let them go down to the ring and cut a promo or cut a pose session in the ring as champion and see how the fans take to it. And with Lex, nope.
Yeah, so
Didn't
Lex was on a handshake deal with the WWF and Vince McMahon,
Mm-hmm.
and he literally had a match the night before at some house show in, God forbid, wherever he was at. And, he made the call to Sting, and this is how he ended up in WCW. Sting
ended up coming
told
back.
Bischoff,
Hey, he wants to come back?
He wanted to come back. Bischoff wasn't going to pay him the money that he wanted, but he just wanted the opportunity, and he went with it. That was it.
Yep.
Yeah, so we get Luger just standing there looking stupid with that ugly-ass shirt he had on. And
look, let's call it what it is. Lex Luger was at the Mall of America in a blouse, folks. He was in a blouse, all right? He was in a blouse.
Facts. Yes. All right. Well, back to the Sting and Ric Flair match. It's crazy to think this is the very first Nitro that these two guys, they kicked off the show. Yep. And in the very last Nitro, if we ever make it to it, they had the final match in WCW as well. So it's pretty cool on Nitro. But during this match, Sting, he was bodying Flair the whole time, and he was whooping that ass. And then for some reason, Arn Anderson, he came out with a nice Nike-ass tracksuit, by the way. That shit was fire.
He was ridiculous. Yeah, he looked like a mob boss. Yeah,
and not knowing, I know now, what happened, but not knowing at that time, you knew about Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, Arn Anderson. Right. That's the enforcer right there. They was down there, but I didn't know my man had beef with Ric Flair at this time back in 1995. I didn't know that.
Agreed.
I had no idea. And Sting, he was doing his thing by beating up Flair, and then Flair finally got some offense, and then he started talking shit to Arn. Or Sting was talking shit to Arn. For some strange reason, Arn didn't move a muscle. He was just chilling. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as soon as Flair put Sting in the figure four, while Flair is holding the ropes, Arn gets on the ring, and the ref just stops the match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one thing to note was that Sting was having a field day power slamming.
Yeah.
He press slammed Ric Flair about 4 or 5 times in the ring, out the ring, over the ring. He power slammed him in the ring. He power slammed him out the ring. He picked him up and he power slammed him from outside the ring back in the ring. He was slinging Ric Flair all over the place. And I was like, okay, we get it. Yo, we get it. You're strong, dude. You stop throwing this old man all over the place. It was getting kind of bad after a while. But yeah, he was DQ'd. He refused to. He put Sting in a figure four. He refused to release it, and that's when Arn came in and grabbed his leg and threw his leg off, and then he proceeded to summarily make like a soprano and put it on Ric Flair. And one of the things that you forget about Arn Anderson, the way he moved in the ring. It wasn't enough that he was beating him down, but when Ric Flair went out of the ring, it was like a dart. He was out of the ring. His motions were so sudden and direct that it was like, okay, he's gonna fuck somebody up. He gonna fuck. He earned the nickname Enforcer in more ways than one, and that was just a small sample size of it. After he chased Flair off, he comes back to the ring. You think he's gonna attack Sting? He grabs his jacket and he leaves.
By the time somebody grabbed their
yeah, grab something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Arn did move pretty quickly.
He did. It was like his moves were sudden. Always. It was weird. His moves were sudden.
Always.
And it's like that's one of the things I always remember about him, no matter what. Is like just how sudden his moves were. Like it was just like from the moment he thought it, he was already doing it.
if you want to see one of the best spine busters of all time, check out Undertaker and Ric Flair at WrestleMania. And my God, I replay this thing so many times. He came running down the aisle and just perfect timing and caught Undertaker with that spine buster. Like, how?
Yeah.
That was precise. So you can't teach that.
Arn Anderson, they have videos where they ask who has the best spine buster in the business, and I've heard many people argue, oh, it's Batista because of the way he rises up after he does it. But as far as technical ability and how it just looks like it would just destroy you, Arn had it by far. And it's crazy because Carl Anderson has a pretty damn good one too. But Arn Anderson's spine buster, especially when he just snatches you right up, as soon as you see his leg go up, and it's just like his leg goes up and it's just like a straight whip right down into his spine. It is a thing of beauty. It is a thing of beauty. I could watch that. I could watch him do that all day long.
I think all the Andersons got good spine busters, man.
Oh yeah, because C.W. Anderson had a pretty damn good one too. Yep. I think it's like literally, it's like, look, if you're gonna have the name Anderson, you better learn how to do a damn spine buster.
Damn right.
They're like, don't be coming up with one of these half-assed. No, you need to be legit with that. And to their credit, anyone I've ever seen with the last name of Anderson that has ever tried a spine buster has been pretty good. Has been pretty good.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so back to the show. So after this, we see Scott Flash Norton come out of nowhere, and he said he signed a contract. Body Brain, he's scared. Eric Bischoff is scared, and Mongo ain't backing down. Scott Flash Norton, he's a big dude. He was a arm wrestling champion, and
another debut.
He was talking to Mongo, but Mongo, he stood his ground. Yeah, and out of nowhere, Macho Man.
Dog.
Yeah, the dog too with the little hat on. Yeah, but Macho Man comes out of nowhere and said, "If you want to have a fight, we could do this right now." So.
Yep. Yeah, and Macho Man was tempting his ass in the ring too. Now, this is where we differ because whereas at this point Vince McMahon hadn't put his affiliation as far as being owner out there yet. Eric Bischoff kind of did it in a. It didn't seem like it was really intentional, but he did it in a way where he basically tells Scott Flash Norton, he's like, look, you get in this ring, I guarantee you'll never step foot in the WCW ring. It was like, okay, so when did a color commentator have that much stroke? Yeah. That's kind of your first indication that Eric Bischoff was the owner. Because he basically told him, you go ahead and keep this up, and I'll guarantee you that contract you signed will be null and void. And Scott Norton did not get in that ring either. So clearly he listened. So, that was, and again, 30 years ago, I didn't catch that.
We didn't catch
when he really didn't make it, he didn't really make it a grand thing that he was an owner until Nash and Hall and the beginnings of the Outsiders.
Yeah.
But night one, he kind of put it out there, and we kind of all just missed it. We just figured he's just talking smack, but no, he actually literally put it out there. It's like, you step in this ring, you will never step in a ring to wrestle.
Yep.
Shut the door on him.
Well, after this, we get a video package of a new wrestler coming to WCW, and that person's name is Sabu. Sabu, he is the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal,
yep,
ECW legend.
Yep.
What the hell happened here? How come Sabu didn't end up in WCW?
So, Sabu was in. He left ECW once and went to WCW, where he was in WCW for literally a few months. Literally, I think it was like 3 or 4 months he was in WCW. Had a couple of matches there. He actually, that vignette was for him debuting the next week, which the next episode will be covering his debut. But But yeah, he was only there a couple of months, and then he was right back to Indies and eventually back to ECW, where he had a major run in WCW and ECW that second time around.
But check this out right quick.
Mm-hmm.
WCW had Sabu.
Yes.
They had Robbie V.
Yep.
Mr. JL.
Yep.
Scotty Flamingo.
Yep.
I guess you got to let these guys go to blossom, to bring them right back. Basically, you're all in your Nash. Come back.
That's what. Yeah, because literally that's what they did. I mean, you sent Scotty Flamingo off. He comes back as Raven and has a flock. You had
JL,
Jerry Lynn. Yep.
Robbie V.
Yep. You have these guys that maybe just at that particular point in time they're good, but maybe their gimmick is stale or their gimmick's not going to work, and you figure they just need to find it elsewhere, and they all went to ECW, and they definitely found it. I mean, to that respect, ECW has done that to a lot of people. I mean, think about it. Is Stone Cold Steve Austin Steve Austin without that stretch at ECW? A lot of guys found their voice in ECW and was able to go into other arenas and kind of build themselves up from the ground up as a result of ECW. So
Mick Foley.
Yep.
And Vince didn't like Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
He didn't like Cactus. He wanted to put a mask on him. So that's why it worked out.
Yeah, he wanted to put a mask on him, but then eventually what ended up happening, Cactus Jack showed up anyway.
Yep. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang. So
yeah, WCW had a lot of talent back in the day. Do you remember a guy named Jean-Paul Levesque? Yes.
Also, you might have also known him as Terrorizing.
Terrorizing, yes.
Yep. You had another guy. His name's Mean Mark Calloway. Yeah.
Yep.
So you have a lot of these guys that WCW don't know what to do with necessarily. Hell, you had a guy named Oz. You had a guy named Vinny Vegas. They're both the same guy, by the way. And they left and came back superstars. So I mean, WCW did that with a lot of their talent, where it was like they brought them in, they kind of middled, and then they kind of found themselves, and then came back. With the only real exception to that being Mean Mark Calloway, because he left and he never came back.
Nope.
he never came back. But
yeah. All right. Well, we have a promo. We have Michael Wallstreet. He's talking about the new generation. And he said it's all about money and power. He said he's sure that the IRS will be watching. He's going to show that Wallstreet is a player. And Michael Wallstreet, he started out in NWA, WCW. He went to WWF. He was IRS, Erwin R. Shyster. And then he went back to WCW as Michael Wallstreet.
And we were not going to take a minute to notice that Michael Wallstreet's attire was eerily similar to who used to be his tag team partner with the $sign on the lapel of his suit. We won't mention that, or we won't even mention the fact that in that very next episode, which we will cover, his name all of a sudden changed from Michael Wallstreet to VK Wallstreet, which may or may not have had anything to do with a particular owner of a rival wrestling promotion. But I saw that, and the first thing I thought about was like, this dude's really wearing a $500,000 man jacket. This is hilarious. Yep. Like, man, the people at WCW really thought long and hard about how to pull that one off. But I mean, it was still a good promo regardless.
That's probably one of his best promos ever.
Yeah, it was still a really good promo, and for the guy that we would all know as the dad of Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas, who Mike Rotunda is a legend in his own right.
Hall of Famer.
Let's not placate he is a Hall of Famer in and of himself. It's not like, oh, well, he's only good because we know his sons. No, Mike Rotunda was good as hell. Him and
Mike
Barry
used to
Windham.
get busy.
Him and Barry Windham, yeah.
Some U.S. Express Hall of Fame tag team. Him and Barry Windham.
Exactly.
Family members.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep. Don't forget. Don't forget his NWA days when he was on the Varsity Club. Come on now.
Yep. It's like the Rotundas and the Wyndhams. They are a wrestling dynasty. Whether you want to name them one or not, they are a wrestling dynasty. The Rotundas and the Wyndhams are a wrestling dynasty. Because I mean, you have Rotunda, obviously. You had Barry Windham, obviously. I think you also had Kendall Windham. I mean,
he wasn't all that, but he was.
But he was decent. But you have Blackjack Mulligan.
Yeah,
Blackjack Mulligan on top. So it's like you have these names out there. These guys that kind of ran the South for a minute.
Yeah.
When it was still territories. So. But yeah, it was one of his better promos. They were basically like, here you go, we'll go for it with your $500,000 jacket on, and he did all right. He did all right.
Yes. All right, main event time. This is a short show. Nitro was only an hour at the time.
Yep.
So our main event, we have Big Bubba Rogers taking on Hulk Hogan. This is for your WCW title. And Jimmy Hart, he's out there with the red, white, and blue Hogan outfit. I think that might be the outfit he wore when Hogan lost the title at King of the Ring '93, I want to say.
Could very well be, because he did wear that American flag outfit a lot on his championship defenses.
Yeah. You know what's weird? I peeped it. So this is a title match. You know, usually the ref holds up the title, and then like the title keeper, he'll hold the belt.
Right.
Jimmy held that belt the whole time, so you know Hogan wasn't going to lose that title.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you knew that. You knew that was. You knew that was going to happen. And not on the first episode of Nitro. Definitely not. One thing I did note, and it was kind of funny to look at. I was like, you could really tell at that time Hogan didn't have a need to bleach his hair, to dye his hair, because if you look at it, it's just like natural blonde, not the almost white blonde it is now, because he's been dyeing it for years to keep it looking blonde. And as we go into the match itself, because you talked about the referee not holding the title and stuff like that. Well, the referee had his hands on something a lot of the times in the match. He had his hands on Hogan.
Yeah.
Like, dude, literally, Hogan was in a pinning combination that was on top of Big Bubba Rogers, who was punching him, and Randy Anderson literally runs up behind Hulk Hogan and grabs 2 handfuls of hair and pulls.
Yeah.
I was like, what's with the hell, ref? What is going on?
Hogan punching Bubba Rogers, bang, bang, bang.
And then he was just like,
the Hogan do one of these numbers.
and you ain't just heard, ah!
Yeah, man. But watching this match, looking back at it, Hogan wrestled as a heel, and we, the fans, we all loved it.
Yeah.
And Big Bubba, he sold the hell out of it when he was in the corner and getting punched.
He was selling the he was selling the shit. That shit was funny. Like, yeah, when he pushed him, he was just like this. He was like, if there's one thing about Ray Traylor we knew, that dude could sell.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a
seller. That dude could sell.
Yep. At one point, Big Bubba Rogers, he hit the sidewalk slam on Hogan, but he took too long. He won a taunt, and then you already know what happens. Hogan's gonna Hulk up, throw the punches, big boot, leg drop, match is over. That is it. Hulk Hogan retains. This is your first title match, your first title defense on Nitro. But all of a sudden, we get the Dungeon of Doom coming out to attack Hogan. Mm-hmm. And Lex Luger comes out of nowhere, and he makes the save.
Yep. He comes out, makes the save. And at that time, in case anyone was wondering, probably weren't, but you had the Dungeon of Doom come out. Who came out? It was Kevin Sullivan. It was Brutus Beefcake as Zodiac. It was Ming. It was John Tenta, or the Shark, a.k.a. Earthquake, and Kevin Sullivan.
All Hogan's boys in WWF.
Yep.
Besides Sullivan.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, after this we get Savage and Sting trying to
Trying to
calm
break
Hogan
things
and
up.
Luger down,
Yep,
and then Mean Gene, the goat. He's
yep,
the greatest ring announcer of all time, or greatest, ring
yep.
commentator of
Greatest,
all time, whatever you want to
greatest.
call
Yep.
him. And he gets in the ring. He wants to see what is Luger doing here, and I got the promo right here, and we're gonna listen to it right now. Here we go.
Go for it.
You got no business in my backyard, Luger. Well, let me tell you why I'm here. I'll make it clear right up front. I'm here for one reason and one reason only. People say that you're the #1 wrestler in the world today. You wear that WCW belt around your waist. And you know what? That makes you the only world heavyweight champion. And I'm here to take that belt. That's why I'm here. Let me tell you something, Luger. Second, before you jump the gun, hold on just 1 second and let me finish. Then you'll have your piece. Just let me finish. I've been down the same roads as you. I've been where you've been. I've beaten the same people you've beaten. I am sick and tired of playing around with kids. I'm here to get it on with the big boys, and that means you. And I don't care whether it's next month, next year, or 5 years from now. I'm gonna get my shot. You see this, brother? This is the WCW heavyweight title, brother. I'm the champion, and that's the way it's gonna stay forever and a day. I know where you've been, brother. You've been playing games. I'm gonna have to give you your due, brother. I know when you started and how long you've been at it, brother. But when you come in the WCW, when you get in Hulk Hogan's face, brother, there's thousands of Hulkamaniacs, brother, that are gonna stand behind me each and every bit of the way, Luger. So as far as I'm concerned, brother, as great as you may be, you don't have to prove nothing to me, brother. You don't have to wait till next week. You don't have to wait till next month. Just stick that stinky palm of yours out, brother. Shake my hand, and I'll put the WCW title on the line next Monday on Monday Nitro right in Miami. I'll put the title. You got it. You got it, Gil. Come on, man. What are you doing here?
That stinky hand.
Look, you don't have to wait till next week. Stick your hand out here and you can get your match next Monday. Ain't that next week? But look, let me put. I listened to that promo, and the first thing I thought about was it is real awkward as hell to hear Lex Luger, a WCW product, be told by Hulk Hogan, a WWE product, that you're in my backyard. You're basically, when you come here to get in my face in my backyard, it's like, dude, this is his backyard. He was here before you, bro.
Yeah,
But
WCW's Luger's backyard compared to Hogan.
yeah. It's like this is Luger's backyard. It's like you talking shit like, yeah, you're in front of my house that he's paying for. What? It's like, what are we doing here? But yeah, I thought it was an interesting promo from that standpoint. And like I said, I was in tears when he said, you don't have to wait till next week. You put, and we'll do this next Monday. And I'm sitting there, I'm like,
I'm tired of playing with kids. I want to play with big boys.
I'm tired of playing with kids. That was the line of the night. I'm tired of playing with kids. I beat the same people you beat. I know for a fact that Lex Luger did not beat the same people Hogan beat. Because most of those people weren't even there.
Yep.
But, and but as I said, it's going to lead into the match next week, and Luger was still in his blouse. And, but it was a good promo, with Sting and Macho Man trying to keep the peace and all that other stuff, and I mean, clearly we know what ended up happening because
we got a ways to go. We got a ways to go.
yeah, you know that kind of you can't win the big one. Yeah, that's kind of where that goes. But it was all in all, especially for an hour, you got three pretty decent matches in an hour. The segments themselves, I mean, think about it. You got three matches. You got four vignettes and segments in between. So, and plus you had a bunch of debuts. So, I mean, Mongo debuted.
Norton
Debuted. You had Michael's Wallstreet debut. You had the vignette of Sabu debuting. So you had all these debuts. And all this stuff happened in 1 hour. They really maximized that 1 hour.
Yep.
And I mean, if you go back to watch it on like a Peacock or Netflix, whatever it's going to be on now, you will find that in a 1 hour show, 45 minutes of it was actual action. It was actual show. It was only 15 minutes in commercials. These days, the show be like 25 minutes of show, 35 minutes in commercials. But it literally was majority show. Yep. And they stocked a lot of it, a lot in it.
Yeah, they jam-packed it in, and you got to watch next week to see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll be doing. Episode 2 of the Nitro Podcast.
Yep. I'm not quite sure where the next episode was. I know it was not in Mall of America. But like I said, you will, by watching tonight, you know that next week's episode is the debut of Sabu. Hogan is going to face Lex Luger for that title. And I'm pretty sure there were other things that likely came up over the course of like WCW Saturday Night that led in the matches going into Monday Nitro. I think VK Wallstreet, if he doesn't debut, he probably has another promo, but we'll see on that episode next week.
Yes, I'm trying to see what day. This was September. So, all right. So,
yeah, oddly enough, September 11th will be. September 11th is the second episode.
WCW September 11th, 95. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let me pull up the card right quick. All right. So as of now, we'll give you full detail next week. We have Alex Wright going against Sabu.
Okay, so that's his debut. All right.
So
this is Alex Wright before he started that dumbass dancing. Okay.
Yep. We have Sting.
He was still Gus Wonderkind.
Sting defending the United States Championship against VK Wallstreet.
Okay.
We have Macho Man and Scott Norton.
Okay.
And then we have Hogan and Luger for the title.
Now that's interesting. So VK Wallstreet immediately comes in and gets a title shot. Luger comes in and immediately gets a title shot. And now we have 2 episodes of Nitro and no tag teams.
Yep. Yep. That's what happened.
Very interesting.
So definitely tune in with us next week, and we're going to talk about it.
Indeed, we will.
Yes, I think this is a fun episode right here. We're taking it back to 1995, and
oh yeah, it's just
a lot of memories.
There's just way too much going on in this episode, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, it's just odd to think that was 30 years ago.
Yep.
Literally 30 years ago.
Yep. Next week they're in Miami.
Miami, Florida. Okay.
Miami. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, BDC, an excellent episode, and we'll be doing it again next week.
Yes, indeed.
Until then, I'm Notorious when I am Dom. I'm here with BDC, and we bring to you the WCW Nitro Podcast, and we will see you next time. Boom.